welcome back to another tutorial on Gearsaw Studios, and today I'm going to be showing you how to build yourself an iceberg house, in case you ever traversed the frozen ocean and decided, you know what, I want to live here. And it's not even a bad choice, you have all the ice around in order to get to locations quickly. So without further ado, let's investigate how we'd go about this for the 7th day of Gearsaw. And instead of pulling out a palette like I usually do, I'm going to be showing a little sample of what it could look like. Lots of dark oak, more dark oak under little walls like this. I'm going to segment it into threes because that's what I like doing. We have the support beams going across the ceiling, no cave-ins, spruce flooring, and lanterns for lighting. Ice for the windows since, of course, it's transparent. And then, over here, we have ourselves a little bit more refined flooring for more of the interior only sections of this place, since I'm pretty sure anyone here can attest to how annoying it can be to walk on ice. For this, we're going to be using an alternating pattern of stripped dark oak logs and gray concrete powder. If you are playing after June 4th, 2024 roughly, you should have polished tuff, and I'd recommend replacing the gray concrete powder with that. And then what you want to do is traverse your area, look for various things, mainly icebergs, and see, is there a big cluster nearby? If so, start excavating it, since we're going to start living inside of it. I recommend choosing a part that is relatively simple to attach onto, so, don't go terribly high up, like around here is bad, but here is good. You can always build bridges outside, and do basic excavation. Don't think too much about it for now. Here, we have ourselves a little entrance. Nothing too significant about it. It extends a little, so we need a couple of support beams. Simple stairs stacked on each other. And then, we go in here, and we have our first room. First, of course, small hallway. Nothing too complicated, I recommend straight up copying it. And then, this room here. It's not 100% finished, but it's finished enough so you get the idea. The middle, of course, has our checkerboard pattern. The walls are ice. We need our little logs going across here. You can see how much of a difference it makes once you add those. Make sure the ice is all smooth. And then, once you have that, then any walls that are exposed, make them into our window design as shown over there. Nothing terribly complicated yet. Essentially, you need a hub room so that way, once we go outside like this, we can have little protrusions, because if we confine ourselves to only the insides of an iceberg, we aren't really using the build to its full extent. You're really only building walls out of ice. It could very easily be underground unless you used the exterior to your advantage. So build a couple staircases up and make them protrude from the iceberg, so that way we can make them go back in. Starting off simple, I have constructed one extra staircase, and you may notice it's not a staircase, mainly for space constraints, mainly because I want these here. But something you'll notice about any stairs or slabs in this area, if you're a lazy builder, is that you'll have ice physics on them. That's because you have ice under them. So you need to make sure that there is no ice under any of these things. Going up, we have ourselves a little balcony here, and this is the general idea of the build. We want to incorporate a bunch of balconies. 1, easy access, especially with elytras or riptide, and 2, so that way we properly utilize the fact that we're in an iceberg and not the underground, but everything's packed ice. So make sure that you do all that, include more ladders and staircases, and remember, if you run out of room in one iceberg, simple, build a hallway, go to the next. If that doesn't work, well, build a bridge, go to another. Simply, you can turn this entire place into one giant network of one giant build. You could even turn it into an entire mega base with little balconies here and there to signify that there are more than normal icebergs. So do that intermittently, and then you'll have something interesting going on. But of course, start simple and build yourself 1 or 2 balconies to start off. Once you have yourself this area here, of course, a basic balcony, you can start decorating it. Put some lanterns into it, some stairs, a lot of dark oak. Make sure that it looks like this had to be etched into it. And you can see if you add more like this, and then some stairs, it progressively gets more and more polished. So I recommend to keep doing that. And if you plan to make it smaller than it actually is, then maybe even make some disconnected protrusions, such as a fake chimney. Either way, add your utilities, make sure it's still accessible, so add some adders even if it takes away a little bit of the charm. And then build some bridges into nearby ones if you run out of room. Essentially, start making your base functional given the layout given here. While you're adding more rooms and decorating balconies, you'll notice that eventually you might have too much going on. Especially with this bedroom here. Notice the glass flooring since we're going above the first floor. Little detail. The problem here is that it juts out too much. I tried going with an L shape, but look at how far it goes. It goes above the original thing, and it makes it a little too cluttered. So I'd highly recommend avoiding doing this and making sure that your thing is still roughly encased. So don't make any massive protrusions, especially with rooms unless they are balconies. And then from there, what you want to do is shrink any rooms that go over the line, remove any details that would have been there otherwise, and then accommodate for it. Also, we're going to be adding one connection to another iceberg. Back here, we're going to have a nice little storage area. Nothing terribly special. All you have to do is normal spruce flooring, and then beyond a certain point, like about here, we'll be placing chests, along with our original room design out there. With this iceberg now completely covered in housing, we can see how this may look when completed. Of course, ice grown over this window here for our bedroom, which is pretty bare bones, but still. Some tables would be nice, a little balcony on top, fly in onto the iceberg, no need to go through everything else. And then, looking around, nothing particularly spectacular, but it's a very cozy house. Even if, you're gonna get hypothermia in about 30 minutes in here, still. For a storage room, we have ourselves the design we had outside, where we have supports going upwards and arcing over, with ice on top, lanterns spaced out intermittently to light the place up. For the sorting itself, of course, replace the bamboo mosaics with whatever block you actually want to store in there. So, you want to store cobblestone? Put cobblestone behind there. Something red? Red concrete. And make sure that it doesn't leak through on the undersides of various things. Because, of course, remember, everything you put on the inside might be visible from the outside. So if you choose something that doesn't look particularly cozy, it might mess with the build. Which leaves us with one part remaining. Ice canals. And, well, if you notice, it would be very inconvenient to have to sail around everything to get through. So, how do we handle this? Well, simple. We build canals. Get yourself some dark oak. Of course, refine everything you have here. And then, what you need to do is 1. Excavate through the ice. Break everything. And then whenever you reach a massive piece like this, you line it with dark oak. And then we'll have some stairs going up and going over with lanterns spaced in between them to melt all the ice so that way it's always open. So with only that, you can ignore the entire ice problem. One final detail, you might want to add an extra room for the sake of having an extra room in order to have a chimney. Personal preference, but perhaps give it a shot. When completed, your canal should look something like this. You can see a bunch of dark oak separates the ice so it cannot spread, while the lighting prevents any ice from forming on top of this. And another thing in order to prevent ice would be small campfire totems like this, along with a chimney I hastily built. Nothing special about this, but down here we have an extra room. That one I forgot to add flooring to, so adding that. And 2, notably has a very small campfire. I'd recommend deep slate if you ever need a stone for this build for any reason. And then, our little totems are simple. We go down to the seafloor, stripped spruce logs go all the way up, line the campfires with dark oak trapdoors, and place them inside. And they look something like this, and now you have a completed iceberg home. You can see, we really didn't have to do much preparation. Find a random iceberg, and start adding to it. And here's the thing, even if this build in itself is quite small and lacks a couple key features that a long-term survival would need, well, expand it. Look at how large of a biome we get. And even then, this is quite a small frozen ocean. So, keep looking for more areas to expand to, add bridges, add canals, and what do you know, you have a thriving civilization. And with that, it's the end of today's video. If you enjoyed this video, remember, please like and subscribe. It really helps me out. And also, this is the 7th day of Gearsaw, which means tomorrow, well, 2 days after tomorrow, you'll be seeing another video. So stay tuned for that if you're watching this the day it's uploaded. Either way, enjoy the rest of your day. Gearsaw out.